Welcome back to Fear and Beer, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. Join us as we venture year-round into the fog.
Make sure you give us a like and a follow on your podcast platform of choice. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube page where we upload every episode in its video format, and maybe a few other surprises as well.
Make sure you're following us on social media to keep up to date with our newest haunted content.
I'm Nick.
I'm Seamus.
I'm Jamie.
Let me be the first to announce Halloween Horror Nights is officially this month. Well, and announced, but it's this month.
I don't know which way you were going.
August 1st. It is August 1st, baby. It is this month. We're just so close. We have all of our announcements. Since we've last talked, we've gotten not one, but 2 shows announced, 2 houses, some new merch, construction everywhere. We got a lot to catch up on. Oh, and our shirts are out. Thanks for finally dropping that final house announcement that we were waiting on. Our shirts, depending on when you are listening to this, because our shirts are going to be dropping at noon on Friday. So if you're one of our peeps that run right to the new episode right in the morning or the wee hours of the night, you still got to wait until 12 o'clock, till the afternoon on Friday. Shirts will be out for you then. If you are listening after the fact, get over to our TeePublic page, grab some of our new shirts for this year, help support the pod. And I believe, don't quote me because this is before, I did a couple test runs, but I believe when you put a new shirt on TeePublic, it is automatically on sale. So I believe our 6 new design shirts should be $16 or somewhere around that. Don't forget, there are multiple options on TeePublic. You don't have to get just the base t-shirt. You can adjust it to, they have these cool, like, you can get a tie-dye if you want, but they also have these almost, I think it's called varsity, but it's kind of like this old schooly throwback style vintage look, almost acid washy. So if you want to play around, you can play around with the different colors and shirts and stuff like that. That's one of the benefits of TeePublic. We don't get the biggest cut from the designs that we sell, but it allows for a lot of customization on your behalf if you like a certain color or whatever. So I think that's pretty fun. Everyone can kind of be their own person in our shirts, which is pretty cool. But yeah, man, we got a lot to dissect. And Seamus, we're kicking it old school. Me and you.
Yep.
Get back in the saddle again. But yeah, so that being said, let's get into some beers. I got one. I got a weird one. It doesn't really tie into anything. This is from American Solera. This is a microbrew out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is called, oh, you know what? This could tie in, not to HHN, but it's called Know What I Mean? Could kind of be like Know What I Did Last Summer. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit.
But not I mean? Not
I
I mean.
mean.
We're close. This is a red IPA. I can't say for certain that I've had a red IPA before, but it is a 7% ABV. There is no IBU, and this was picked up at Half Barrel Beer Project. There's really no description on this beer on Untapped, so I'm kind of, other than the whole IPA aspect, I'm going in a little blind on this thing. So we'll see. It was only in my fridge for like a week or 2. That's pretty out of the blue for me. Usually they're sitting around a lot longer. So I'm very, very excited to tap into this. I did have one off HHN thing to kind of bring up. I wanted to point out an event that is happening August 9th, Saturday. This is shout out to my buddy Brandon. One of my good friends. He works over at PBR Orlando. That is over on iDrive area. It's at the Point. But they are going to be hosting a Summer Scream event on Saturday, August 9th. They're going to have drink specials. There's a costume contest. They have they got a mechanical bull in there. Very fun party vibe. If that is your cup of tea, head over there and let them know that Nick from Fear and Beer sent you. They got free bull rides and a bunch of spooky fun. I think they are theming up the different bars because there's multiple bars inside of the bar itself. And I think they're decorating bars as different properties. So I think they got like a Stranger Things kind of bar and like a Purge theme bar. So might try and swing over there if I'm free that day. But I figured I wanted to give them a little shout out because it's kind of fits the vibe. It's a good little kickoff to the HHN season to get the spooky feels in your blood and your veins. So with that being said, cheers. I'm going to dive into my little red IPA.
Nice. And I'm just drinking the Silver Bullet because, I'm boring.
This is weird. It's good. It doesn't have a lot of IPA taste. It's smooth.
Sounds like it's like a red ale brewed kind of more like an IPA.
It kind of is. It's pretty close to a
maltier
kind of thing.
Like
yeah,
a maltier IPA.
Sorry, if you're watching on video, my hair's fucking crazy right now. I just dyed it again a little bit more but it's all fucking wild. So I look like a mad scientist tonight. So if you're just listening and you want to see how ridiculous I look, head over to our YouTube page. Alrighty. So we talked about shirts. We talked about Summer Scream. We did our intros. We got into the beer. Let's get into... Ooh, this is just weird where we play catch up. Let's go all the way back to the announcements of last week. That is our show announcements because we haven't discussed those yet. So we did get 2 show announcements. We kind of caught an inkling that there was going to be, we just assumed there was an announcement because, let's be honest, the clock is ticking and we still had shows and we still had 2 houses to announce. So we kind of figured something was coming. What we didn't think was going to be 2 shows. I was expecting houses, or at least a house. And no, we did not get that, in fact. We had to wait another week. So first announcement was Nightmare Fuel Circus of Decay. Nightmare Fuel is back. Any surprise there, Seamus?
A little bit. I mean, I'm a little surprised that they stuck with the same basic thing. Let me rephrase that. I guess I'm not surprised that it's Nightmare Fuel again. I think it's a popular show. I think that's why they're bringing it back. I am a little surprised that they didn't really do a massive change, even in the theme. I know that they're not quite the same thing, but last year it was something what was it, some sort of circus thing. Now it's the Decay, so it must be a sequel to last year's show and the year before, which is fine. At least they're trying to change it up a little bit, but I feel like it might start to get a little stale if they don't, in the next couple of years, at least change have a pretty drastic change when it comes to at least the theming of it, if it's not going to change the show altogether.
Yeah, I think last year was Nocturnal Circus. So the same thing, the circus, it's weird because the circus vibe debuted on stage Nightmare Fuel last year, but that would have been perfect for the year before with Dr. Oddfellow. We've talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised because, not like you said, not that Nightmare Fuel's back, but I'm surprised that it's still the circus-y kind of vibe, because when they were, I believe, talking about this at Spooky Empire, I don't think they said it by name, but they're like, oh, well, if there was a stage show, there's a new director. And so that that led me to believe, I was like, oh, we're in for something very, very different and new. And that very well could still be happening in this show. But the whole circus vibe, it's still kicking around. So I'm cool with it. I'm excited to still see it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I enjoy it. What I don't enjoy is being slammed in there like sardines and, just losing 5 pounds of pure sweat. But it's still a fun experience. It's always a well-produced show, and I'm excited to see what they come up with for this year. We know the Fuel Girls should be back, so it's going to be kind of one and the same of what we've gone through before, but the little description says, this once vibrant circus has festered into an unending nightmare. It's a sinister spectacle of pyro, aerialists, and illusions. They're not tricks. They're not tricks. They're illusions.
They're illusions.
Little Arrested Development nod for all you. I believe I just blew myself. Yeah, it's fine. I'm excited for it. I think this was sort of penciled in. It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't disappoint me. It's just kind of there, which is fine.
Yeah.
The next one, I think, would have taken us a little bit by surprise more if the trust wasn't already up in the same area that it was the last time we had one of these. But we have Hontophonic, a ghoulish journey. I can't speak. The Hontophonic really threw me off. This one is described as a ghost story is rising from its watery grave to haunt the Universal Studios lagoon, featuring towering water screens and eerie music. Not a huge definition. I do like the nod to ghoulish because that was the last show we had. And it is funny saying a ghost story is rising from its watery grave because that is exactly where ghoulish went. Because the hurricane came around and it killed ghoulish.
Literally killed it.
So I like that in that little bio, they're sort of, I think, not poking fun, but referencing the demise of the previous Lagoon show. So do you remember seeing Ghoulish? Because it was only around for like 2 or 3 weeks.
I remember there being a Lagoon show at one point. I just forget what it was. I think, well, wasn't there... There was one where it was like all the different like movies and themes and stuff. But was that the one that you're talking about? Because if that's it, then I remember it.
So there was. I'm bad on the years. I know Ghoulish was more of an original kind of Halloween-y story. The previous
that I don't remember.
I think the previous one was like the Carnage Factory or something like that, and it was like IPs, which I kind of prefer the original thing. You know, because it's essentially, if it's the IPs, it's just an ad on water.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Which is kind of cool, but like if you're not doing anything other than that, it's like, all right, well, yeah, I'm just watching the commercial here. Like, I get it. Cool. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's is here.
It's like projecting a movie on the water is really all it's doing. It feels that way.
Yeah, so I like the original spin. I'm going to be very curious to see if they introduce other things, because obviously we have, I believe it's called Sensational or something. They have that water show at Universal, which also uses drones. I'm hoping that they implement that into this. That would be really cool if they had the drones take part of this a little bit too. It's been a while since I've seen the Sensational, probably a year or so ago, but it was really fun. But they had the drones doing like, you know, the Back to the Future, the Ghostbusters, the Jaws, like all that stuff. So they have the tech, they have the infrastructure to make it happen. It's just a matter of if they had the time and the creative to reprogram and do all this. But Lagoon Show's sort of been MIA for a couple of years now, so I would hope that they're throwing everything at us. They're doing the whole kitchen sink to get the Lagoon Show back up and like in its rightful spot. So exciting, surprised, don't care.
I care. I think that it at least in the sense that it gives us something else to do. It's not just kind of like the same old that it's been the last couple of years, where you've got the one stage show, but if you don't get there in time, you don't get in to see it. Like, as much as I like the stage show, it can be kind of hard sometimes to get there at the right time, so you're not like just at the end of the line that doesn't that gets in, or you don't get in. So you kind of have to be there somewhat early just to make sure that you get into it. Yeah. The Lagoon Show will just be another thing for people to do, which will be good. And I think that they'll come up with something interesting, even if it is like a callback to an original show, something that I've never seen before, at least as far as I can remember. Yeah. So it'll be kind of cool to see. Yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm indifferent, but I mean, I'm not like jumping through hoops over it either.
Whoa, Lagoon Show, it's my favorite thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not doing that.
I'm the number one Lagoon fan. I'm excited that we are seemingly pulling out a lot of stuff and a lot of tricks for this event, because I think they know the dissatisfaction of the last year, where like it seemed like they kept chipping stuff away from us. No Lagoon Show, the scare zones were what they were, whatever. So I think introducing this back and giving us another thing, along with what we talked about the last time we were here, the street experience, is like, it's they're kind of just they're building up some more stuff. Obviously, they took away Rip Ride Rocket. Could care less about that fucking metal death trap. I don't go on it, so it doesn't do anything for me other than take people away, which that part sucks because it surprisingly still has people in line for it, but it doesn't affect me taking that away other than that. So I do think they need to combat it a little bit. The Lagoon Show is a nice touch to kind of add to the atmosphere of the event because, like you said, it's not something I necessarily have to like stand in line and wait for. I could grab a drink at the HHN bar and just kind of walk around and catch parts of it, or just see the water going and hearing the music blasting is enough for me. I don't have to necessarily be standing front row and center to enjoy it, or at least like have it affect the atmosphere a little bit. I hope the Ghoulish Journey is something with the conservatory, because they were very big on saying that this is like a big part of the event. So I think that would be cool, bringing us through the conservatory. It would be fun if they did stories of the zones a little bit through the whatever the original story is going to be for the Hontophonic, which sounds like a children's toy, but I progress, or I digress. Sorry, not progress. I digress. But I'm excited. It would be fun, I guess. I think if they took like the Crooked Lane and they took Masquerade and they took the Mutation 20s and they kind of built little mini stories, that would be fun to showcase on the water to kind of make you appreciate those zones a little bit more. But I'm also okay with it just being a standalone thing.
Yeah.
So that's what we had last week. So let's fast forward to a couple days ago, to Tuesday. Tuesday, we were Tuesday to Thursday, we were pretty sure we were getting something. We didn't know what, we didn't necessarily know when, but again, the clock was ticking. Like we gotta have announcements coming up soon. So obviously we were sort of just waiting, and we got the double drop.
We did.
Twofer.
I mean, I guess like a 1.5 drop. Maybe we were talking about like.
True. Yep.
It's not like we didn't know this was incoming. We didn't know that this wasn't coming. I don't know how to say that,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm trying to say.
We knew it was coming.
We knew it was coming.
Yep. So we got the double drop. We got Five Nights at Freddy's, and we got WWE Presents The Horror of the Wyatt Sicks. So let's go into Five Nights at Freddy's a little bit, since it is one that we kicked off the season with a little dance around announcement. We end the announcement season potentially, other than maybe food and beverage and whatever. But as far as houses and zones, this is part of the final drop. The little blurb they gave us gives us a little bit better of an idea. You wouldn't last one night at Freddy's. Yeah, we'll see about that, fucker. Let alone 5. You're about to start the night watch at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, where nothing is what it seems. You'll be hunted by the deadly animatronics Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy as you flee through creepy, abandoned hallways. You'll even encounter the ghosts in the machines. Is that like a Pac-Man reference? Whoop, 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 whoop. So, I mean, it's seemingly very much the movies, or movie. The second one doesn't come out to December, so I don't think we're getting much on the game aspect because, it's also good. I don't know anything about the games, really. I know there's a lot of lore about them. I know that there's a lot of them. I'm curious, is there more Fallout games or Five Nights at Freddy games?
That's actually no, because the thing about
they're up there.
Five Nights is such an indie thing that like they can drop like a new experience or game or whatever like every 6 months. So they may have actually more than they do in the Fallout universe, but just because it takes Bethesda 17 years to finish a game. But that's a good question. I would assume that there's more Fallout games, but then again, who knows how many entries into the mainline FNAF franchise there is at this point.
Yeah. So they did have a couple more not announced, but a little bit more of a blurb through Hollywood Reporter. They say the Five Nights at Freddy's experience will see guests fighting to stay alive as they navigate a house based on the 2023 film adapted from Scott Cawthon's wildly popular horror game of the same name. Guests will, quote unquote, follow in the footsteps of Mike, a newly hired night security guard for the abandoned themed entertainment center Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, who discovers that nothing at Freddy's is what it seems. As parkgoers move through the center's corridors, including the security room and showroom, they will encounter a full-scale replicas of Freddy Fazbear, Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, and Mr. Cupcake, which I was debating what his name was today when Jamie was watching the movie. I was like, is that thing just Cupcake? Like, I don't... Oh, yes, Cupcake. It is. All right. These were all created in collaboration with Jim Henson's Creature Shop, who was behind the film's animatronics and costumes, which is
cool.
Pretty cool. I like that. The journey will bring guests face to face with the supernatural, luring them into the black heart of an unspeakable nightmare in a sequence of horrors. So now that it is officially official, it's a house. Wouldn't you know it? It's a house. Are you any more excited? I mean, is it kind of, we've talked about it long enough. We actually have to see what it's all about.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm like overtly excited about it. I'm about where I was when we were talking about the rumors and when it finally was confirmed. I mean, confirmed. Mm-hmm. And then now, I can't say that I was like over the moon about it, but I think it's an interesting enough property and an interesting enough cast of characters that can make a pretty solid house. So, I mean, between Jim Henson doing his in his company doing the production work on it as far as the creatures are concerned, and Universal, just able to create a really engrossing story with existing property, I think it'll come together and make a pretty good solid house. So wouldn't say that I'm like blown away by it, like, oh my god, yes, let's go. But at the same time, I'm not like poo-pooing it either. I'm not like, ugh. I didn't like the movie. I will preface it with that, saying like I was not a fan of the movie, but I get the popularity of it, and I can understand why it's going to be a massive draw.
This is like probably the weirdest IP for me to be here. I'm so weirdly excited, but like you said, I didn't like the movie. I have no attachment to the games because I didn't play them, but I really like the character design. I really like the theming. I like pretty much everything about the movie except the plot. I really enjoy. That's how I can actually watch it because the story is stupid. It sucks. It's absolute nonsense. But the pizzeria is cool, and like they got cool like 80s electronica style music. Like I know the song is like annoying and people are going to get sick of it quick. But I'm not sick of it yet. I vibe with it. It's fun. Like I get it. I like that electronica style vibe. It hits that 90s nostalgia for me. Like it's such a weird property. I don't think there's a property that has ever been, in my experience at Horror Nights, that fits this bill for me, where it's like, I don't like the IP, but I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, it's a cool setting, and that's, I think, where it comes down to for me is like I may not be into the movie, but I have enough of an attachment to actual real life shit like Chuck E. Cheese and Discovery Zone and all these places that we went, like the roller rink when they had like like animated 3D characters that sang to you and stuff like that. Like it definitely hits it strikes a chord there for me, even though I didn't like the movie. Plus Willy's Wonderland was the greatest thing I've ever seen. So
I should dress up in the Willy the Weasel costume for the house on opening night. Like, wait, this isn't the same house? This isn't the right thing?
You should, but you can see where I'm going with it, though. Like, I think that there's enough involved in that world that can draw me in, especially with a haunted attraction like we're gonna get with this. So yeah, I think that I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and we could spend 20 more minutes, kicking the shit out of the movie because Jamie's not here to defend it. But it's a pretty one-sided fight without her here to defend that movie. But yeah, it is just such a bizarre IP for me because I'm really excited, and I think the movie's dog shit.
I'm with you there. I get it. I totally get it. I think the movie was not well made. It wasn't a very good movie at all.
No.
But
the trailer for the second one looks better, but I also thought the trailer for the first one was good. So they're gonna fucking pull the hood, pull the mask over on me again, and just like,
probably.
I'm gonna be bamboozled, and I'm probably gonna have to buy it again. Jamie's gonna love it, and I'll probably be in the same thing where I'm like, damn, bad story. Everything else it's watchable for me.
Right, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so I'm very curious to see how this plays out. I'm curious how. I mean, I don't think this house is going to be scary by any means. I think this is more of just a vibe house.
Yeah,
I
would agree.
I really hope that it doesn't fall in the Quiet Place realm for me, where it was too puppet heavy. Seeing the puppets is one thing that's cool. I want to see it like on stage, dance around, whatever. But I do hope that there's costumed performers in some of those as well to give you some jump scares. They don't have to be, running around full sprint in these big old bulky costumes, but just popping out of corners and dark and stuff like. I hope there is a scare factor in this house as well, other than just a visual. And at the end of the day, if it is just a visually Chuck E. Cheesy arcadey style house, I think I will still enjoy it. And I'm really curious when we get to our 1 week podathon, we'll talk about our wait time over and unders in one of the episodes, I'm sure. With this many crazy heavy hitter IPs, like I just don't know where stuff's going to land.
Yeah.
You could tell me Terrifier is the biggest wait of the year, I'd believe you. You could tell me Five Nights at Freddy's is the biggest wait of the year, I'd believe you. Like I would.
Yeah, I think it's going to be all over the place this year.
Yeah, Fallout, like Jason, WWE. What say what you want about it, and we'll talk about it. But that probably has, as a whole, WWE probably the biggest fan base out of all the IPs.
Oh, 100%. I mean, because it's going to have global. A ton of people that aren't necessarily horror fans, that will come just because there is a tribute to Bray and his stories that he created. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a massive draw, but obviously we haven't talked about it yet, but yeah. I agree with you. This could go anywhere. I don't think there's that one major IP that's going to bring in the crowd. I think there's just something there for everybody, and it's really going to be spread out this year, which may be good in a lot of ways.
That's what I'm hoping, where it's like, it's just, if everything is sitting at that like 50-60 mark versus having stuff at like 2 hours and 30 minutes, I'd rather that.
Right.
And that's what we've sort of seen in the past couple of years, where it's like two very strong IPs with heavy lines and everything's sort of in the middle. Like I'm cool with it being a little bit more spread out. So that way I have the option to be like, hey, shit, Five Nights dropped to 45 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like in past years, that headliner IP is not dropping below 45. Like Correct. It's just not, unless it's at 1 a.m. or Stay and Scream. So I'm really excited and like a little nervous to see if that is actually what happens or not. Or if we do have a clear cut, like, no, this is the house people are waiting for. But I think that's a good a segue as any. Let's get into the WWE Presents The Horrors of the Wyatt Sicks. You're about to go head-to-head with the fiendish Wyatt Sicks at Halloween Horror Nights. Enter an eerie arena where you'll go through an ominous lantern-lit doorway into the maniacal minds of Uncle Howdy, Ramblin' Rabbit, Mercy the Buzzard, Abby the Witch, and Huskus the Pig. Beware, you're about to meet your match. Nice little wordplay there. I am a little surprised that it was more titled and seemingly described as Wyatt Sicks versus Bray Wyatt, but I also get it. It's this weird thing where the Wyatt Sicks is they're finally, and I'm so curious if their push is somehow intertwined with this, because right now they're tag champions. They're fighting in what they're dubbing, and I can't wait for this, the largest TLC match ever at SummerSlam. I think there's like 4 or 5 teams in there. Wow. On Sunday. So I'm going to have to tune in on that. But they're the tag champs. And they sort of, people were nervous because people were saying like they weren't really featured. I forget it. Somebody was dealing with injuries or whatnot. I think Uncle Howdy or Bo Dallas might have been injured. So they kind of weren't on screen as much. Mm-hmm. I'm curious if their return to screen and put in the title picture was tied into the fact that, oh shit, they have a haunted house about them. like for 2 months. Like we gotta get them back up into the top, top of the building to kind of sell this a little bit. Because if they were sidelined still during this, it doesn't affect the house. The house still stays the same, but there's a little bit less awareness about it.
Yeah.
And the fact that, I get it. Bray's not around. I thought it was going to have some sort of like in the mind of Bray, because he was also on the shirt. The shirt was really the Fiend with just like, let me in, let him in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this weird, like almost disconnect where everything they're saying, title is Wyatt Sicks, the description's all Wyatt Sicks, and then Fiend is on there. So Fiend's in the house, obviously very much in the house.
Right.
Bray Wyatt was the little picture on the, whatever it is, the little plug and play tabletop or decor thing that they've been selling with all the IPs. So he's very much in this house. I'm willing to bet that. I really love this whole lantern lit doorway, because that's what I'm hoping we walk into. I'm hoping when we walk in, it's like the darkness of the Quiet Place hallway with just the little lights, the fireflies, and playing either his Code Orange song or like his theme music, like something like that, where you're just walking in and maybe walking towards like a lantern, almost like how we walked into Icons Captured. We walked into Fear's lantern. I hope it's something like that. So what did you think of this one when it was official? Because this one was the one where we were like, we don't know. Like, is it Undertaker? Is it Wyatt's? Is it Bray? I don't know what's in here. We think it's a wrestling thing, but we're not sure.
Yeah. Again, I'm a little surprised, only because they were pretty heavy on the coffin imagery, so that's why I was initially thinking Taker, because I mean, obviously coffins are his thing. I mean, they have been for the last 30 plus years, and I don't know how that ties necessarily into the Wyatt story. Again, I'm not as versed into the newer stuff like you are. Like you know more about his story than I do. I mean, I know a lot from the documentary and from watching what little I have watched, but it's interesting that they used that kind of as the icon. Now, granted, again, these are images we're going off of based on some third party, group of people that don't actually work for Universal. So who knows where they get those ideas from? So that could literally mean nothing. So that's the only thing I'm surprised about. I'm not surprised that we're getting the house. We've been talking, well, I would say people have been talking about it forever now, that WWE was going to be involved in some way. And we just finally got the confirmation that they will be. I'm very excited that it is Wyatt. I'm glad it's Wyatt, because at least we're getting something that's a little more current and unique, and I just think lends itself more to a haunted attraction and being able to come up with stories specifically designed for a haunted house. Whereas The Undertaker, I think it would kind of be a little cheesy. And I may have said that the last time we talked about like the rumors, but I think with Bray, I think there was enough there that really can draw you into the story and tell a good story. So yeah, I'm excited. I don't know necessarily. I mean, I hope it's not like, I guess I'm kind of hoping it's not really heavy on the wrestling side of it, which I feel like it's going to be, like with the whole like puns they're using with the match and the ring and everything. Like I hope it's not just us walking into like a haunted arena like that. To me, that's kind of I'd rather it be the Firefly Funhouse and going into all these various characters that were born from Bray's mind and using that, like more of the promo stuff. That's what I hope it is. I don't know if it will be, but just because I don't want it to be like, oh, the haunted power bomb, like that. To me, that's stupid. Yeah. Like, to me, that's just gonna be so like cheesy and a letdown for me. Where if it's more like you're walking into his funhouse, you're walking into the mind of the Fiend, and he's going to toy with you with all his various creations. That's what I hope it is. But I guess we'll find out. I mean, it's obviously gonna have to go through it to see what it is, but
you don't want to get choke slammed to hell.
No, but I think this house is gonna be, for me, it's the one house that it's either gonna hit or miss for me. Like, it's not gonna be any middle ground. I don't think I'm gonna be able to go through it, and if I don't like it, I don't think I'm gonna like it. There's not gonna be really any redeeming quality for me. Whereas if it hits, I think it's gonna be a home run. I really do.
Yeah, just knowing that, Ramon is behind this one and he's a huge wrestling fan, knowing Mike, I'm sure he had plenty of input on this house because being such a wrestling fan himself, this is going to, if we had people in charge of building or orchestrating this house that didn't care about wrestling, I would be extremely nervous.
Worried. Yeah.
Yes. But because how much they care and respect it and love it, I think that they almost maybe put extra effort into this house, whether they thought it or not. I think this house might mean more to them than others. Not all of them, but some. I think it's just a little bit more special. Mike went on Twitter and Instagram to share like these personal stories of how back in the day, it was years ago, when Bray was on Twitter and stuff, they had a back and forth public about Bray just saying like, oh, let's make it into a house, and like literally commenting on ILO's Twitter, and they had a whole back and forth of like, someday we can make this happen, and then unfortunately we know how everything turned out, but it's very special to them, I'm sure. So I'm very excited. That's what excites me a little bit more about this.
And that's what gives me hope,
is knowing it. Yes.
I think that gives me hope that that this is going to be not only a great house, but a great tribute to an incredible person and an incredible storyteller. And that's, I think, what I said initially when they were talking about it, like the rumors were being talked about. And I said, as long as it is a tribute to Bray more than just using his characters and, not really, I guess not really like getting into the, really where it came from. Because he really was an incredibly creative guy. Like a lot of the stuff that they did was all from his, from his mind. He came up with a lot of that stuff. So I think that if it's coming from the right place, and obviously it is, I mean, it had to be approved by his, I'm assuming by his family and his his wife
and I believe his brother Taylor Bo Dallas has had input and worked with HHN directly about this house.
Yeah, so I think it's coming from the right place, which is why I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Mm-hmm. And for anybody that isn't familiar, I know there's a lot of you out there that are not really familiar with Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt Sicks, all this stuff. I will have my HHN homework video out for you hopefully next week. I'm going to work on writing it up tomorrow and maybe filming it. But if in the meantime, go to Peacock and watch the Bray Wyatt documentary. Get your tissues ready because it is a tearjerker.
It's a hard one to watch, but it is probably one of the best documentaries they've ever done.
It will fill you in a lot. And for all the people out there that are saying it's not horror, this is bitch. It is. There's more horror than Bugs Eaten Alive. There's more horror in there than the Slaughter Cinemas. There's more horror than Vamp 69. It's just there is, and if you're not willing to even give it a chance, and I got 2 words for you. But in the meantime, watch the Peacock documentary. And then I think in my video, I want to obviously talk about the characters a little bit, but I want to showcase some of their vignettes and their promos. There's some very impactful stuff in there. And Bray, as creative as he is, I think he pointed this out in the documentary, his biggest issue, his biggest problem was being too creative and not being able to take his visions and like, well, how do you put
Couldn't rein his vision in?
No. And it's like, and that's the part that really upsets me that, he's not here, because he would have been the first, I think he would have been the first one to not leave WWE to be an actor, but leave WWE to be a like screenwriting horror director. If you told me, if there's an alternate universe and you told me Bray Wyatt was, paired up with, whether it's a Blumhouse or A24 or something, pitching movie ideas and getting them made, I would 100% believe you, because it's just his creativity, I think, was, I don't want to say wearing thin on WWE, but it was just harder and harder to translate his ideas. In media, in movies, he could really have free reign. You could do whatever you want there. Wrestling, it's a little bit harder to like make it believable, but also make it work in the ring, because they had a whole storyline with The Fiend where he got burnt.
Right.
They had an Inferno match with Randy Orton, and he had this big burnt getup on, and it was like really gruesome looking, really cool looking. Can't wrestle in that. It's
Right.
just too fucking. It was like trying to wrestle in like was it Ralphie or whatever from the Christmas Story? It's like, I can't put my arms down.
I can't put my arms down.
You can't move in the thing. So like his mind was just going to 100 miles a minute, and it couldn't translate all the way. But we did get some additional notes from Hollywood Reporter as well on this house. As part of this immersive experience, fans will travel through the light of the lantern before going, quote unquote, head to head with Bo Dallas's Uncle Howdy in a maze that honors the legacy of the late Bray Wyatt, derived from the creative mind of Wyatt and inspired by characters from the Firefly Funhouse. In a house that will transport fans into the maniacal minds of each member, as guests walk through the horrific domains of Uncle Howdy, Ramblin' Rabbit, Mercy the Buzzard, Abby the Witch, and Huskus the Pig, they will be stalked by the Fiend and forced to survive the group's bloody retribution on a world that has abandoned them. So for me, that kind of also goes into a point I didn't make, but I want to. If you have no interest in researching this and you just poo-poo it, view it as an original house. Just view it as a straight up original. And I think you'll get more enjoyment, because that's
a good way to look at it.
How it's going to play out, I think. I know you made a joke where like, oh, we're getting the suplex. I don't think there's going to be much wrestling nods in here. I really think it's going to be just original stuff. And that whole thing of like, I'm viewing the horrific domains of each character. I'm thinking maybe each character gets a room.
Yeah, probably.
And you can kind of play with that a little bit, and that'll break it up. And maybe the Fiend is the final boss character of the house, or if you will. But it has me very excited for this. So that's where I'm at for this one.
I mean, I'll get body slammed if it's Alexa body slamming me, but that's besides the point.
Hey, I got body slammed to sell some shirts, so go buy them.
Yes, you did.
I took an old body slam. But yeah, so that's what we got for our announcements. So we got our final two houses. We got our final two shows. So let's kind of fast forward to present day. Let's talk about all the different construction and stuff that's going on around the park, because these scare zones are starting to pop up every night. Overnight stuff is happening. So we'll kind of do a little walk around. So right up front, Plaza of the Stars. Seamus, have you seen the pictures we've put up at all? Or
I've seen a few of them. Yeah,
stuff?
I've been keeping my eye on it.
Yeah. So Plaza of the Stars looks like it's back in full force. It's stretching all the way from the front of the kind of the Universal store all the way down to that little corner where the little Bake My Day is. Like we're using that whole street again, which we haven't done.
Yeah, they haven't done that in a while.
We're far be it. We're only 1 year removed from the drapes of Duality of Fear, but they're not pulling any punches here. They have multiple little like stage setups with like fencing on it. We have some really cool overhangs with different like stained glassy style ceilings that are very conservatory vibes. Mm-hmm. And from what I think the terms were when they said it, I think the zone is going to have like chainsaw people carving stone, or at least mimicking stone carvings of each of the IPs. So I'm thinking we'll get like little cemetery-based figures of each of the IPs. So I'm expecting more to pop up. I know they mentioned somewhere in the panel that like you're going to be walking into the conservatory through stained glass or something like along the lines of that. I think when they put the truss up, they're going to align the truss sides with like that same stained glass that we see on those little standalones. I think that's coming. And they did mention that the neon sign is going to be a different color this year. It's going to be a turquoisey blue, which fits the vibe, I think, a little bit better. And even if it doesn't, I'm all for change. So that'd be really cool. So are you excited a little bit more now seeing that, like, oh, wow, this zone, at least for this zone, because in the past, it's kind of been a throwaway.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the last 2 years, it's kind of just been
It has.
lost. It's even with Oddfellow, they had the cool like little stage area for him, but other than that, it was like 2 or 3 little things and people walk around. And it was really just a right turn zone. There was nothing up the middle.
Right.
So it's kind of been low on rankings, but now seeing these props, it's gotten the juices flowing a little bit for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's about time they bring back, more of a full-fledged scare zone there. So it is exciting that they're going to use it for more than what they have.
So we'll keep walking around. New York, I ain't seen nothing yet. I think big old Diddley Squad, I think they're going to leave that one last. Maybe just because the parade route it's less time, less, they want to have the least amount of effect on that as possible.
Right.
Which also leads me to believe maybe we're getting more pull-in props. Like last year they would open the doors and start having to not drag the props up, but literally like forklift them in almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking maybe we'll have something along those lines other than when we get the big stage, but nothing there. If you walk over towards San Francisco, I don't know how much more is new over there. They do have what seems to be that little DJ stage still set up, and they have trusses with lights. Other than that, I haven't seen any props. So I don't know. That's one of the question marks. I don't know if this street experience is going to get props over there. So I guess that one will be like time will tell, right? When stuff pops up, it pops up.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to complete our route, we would go over the bridge by Simpsons. However, that thing is still a shambles, so they better fucking hop to it, because that's a big time saver right there, because
Right.
it's just brutal to walk. I'm gonna have to walk all the way up to, here I'm complaining. I'm walking probably 3 miles, 5 miles every single night. What's an extra, 800 yards going around up by MIB, but still the point remains they got to get that thing finished. And I think they will. I don't think they would start this project knowing they weren't going to finish it in time, or else they would have started it in, June or May or something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Central Park is kind of extending beyond Central Park now. They have this big truss set up at the end, almost by animal actors, that I can only assume is going to be the house of the crazy cat lady, the cat lady of Crooked Lane. I'm expecting that to be her house, and we're walking up to it as trick-or-treaters. There's also, on the right-hand side, if you're exiting the Central Park zone facing this supposed house, if you go to the right, there's this like little boo hole alley. It's so bizarre. I'm curious if they're going to add more or add an additional one, but they have, it's a little pathway that you can walk through,
Mm-hmm.
and there's woodwork on either side with little windows for people to pop in and out of you. And it seems like it's staying there because it's built around the trees and stuff. And I'm guessing actors are going to be in there. It's almost like a little additional like scare hallway. Very cool.
It looks like it's more than what they've done in the past. I mean, I think maybe kind of what they tried to do with the Scarecrow, but even more so. So this could go either way. It could create massive bottlenecks and could be a problem, but at the same time, it could be a pretty cool little experience. So I guess we'll see how it works. I don't know if maybe because of the Lagoon show coming back, they wanted to like isolate that scare zone a little bit more than they usually do. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how it works.
And maybe push people to the other side, because that's not where, like if you put this cool stuff at the front of the zone, that's going to super bottleneck the entrance to the Lagoon show.
Right.
So putting like this big stuff on the tail end of it makes sense. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to have a guest attendant in there to make sure there's a flow of traffic, other than somebody like going and just like posting up in the middle of this tiny
I would
little
assume
thing.
so, yeah.
But other than that, in Central Park, this thing is chock full of props. It seems like they went to, your local Goodwill or what have you, and just bought every last little thing there because it's full of just random bullshit. There's like there's clothes, there's barrels, there's street signs, there's a pink flamingo, there's old children's toys, there's skulls, there's pumpkins up in the trees. They're back. You have hula hoops, rocking horses. I'm looking at all the pictures. You have little cheapy Halloween decor. You have a very sad looking deflated dodgeball. It's just, it is, everything is in there, and it's all lining the street, which is nice. So that way there's not as much stuff in the middle. And there are these big like page books that you're almost reading the story as you go through. Now these are both double-sided, so I believe there's only 3 pages, but whichever way you walk through, you'll get the story in full. So let's read through these, because I honestly took these pictures and I didn't even read it. The imagery reminds me of like Charlie Brown almost. But it says,
Yeah.
deep in a forest on Halloween night, the trick-or-treaters follow moonlight. Oh, it's a riddle or a poem or something. The naughty children that dare to explore the old crooked lane along the forest floor. Cat eyes and pumpkins line the dim trail to the cat lady's house so withered and frail. And then the next one says, the cat lady of Crooked Lane stands on her stoop. Oh, she's a fucking stoop kid. Stoop kids, wait, stirring her cauldron of special soup. She's not a witch, the children all say, as she pets her cats of orange, black, and gray. She lifts her ladle and offers a taste. They drink it all down. Not a drop goes to waste. The potion, and then this is the third one. The potion sets in, turning hands into claws, and long feline teeth protrude from their jaws. The children all scream as they become beasts, and now hunt their friends to add to the feast. The moral of the story, and it should be plain, never trust the cat lady of Old Crooked Lane. Really cool. Can I be the first one to say this is a house for next year, or what? It's giving me Sweets vibes. Major Sweets.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, he gave the children candy and turned them into these crazy maniacal children. Old cat lady is giving them soup and turning them into cats. Just beautiful decor so far. The imagery from these little storybook post-ups are just such a nice detail. I can't wait to see this in full force. All-timer. I don't even have to walk through this house. I think it's an all-timer zone already. I don't see how you can fumble this in execution. I really don't.
Yeah, I think as long as the actual physical setup of the zone isn't rough and hard to get through, I think it's going to be one of the best ones they've done in a long time. Yeah, because I think the story's not necessarily incredibly new, but it's still, I don't know, it just sounds like it's going to be so much fun.
It's classic.
Yeah,
that's what's the nice part. You know, it's not original, but it's classic. And that fits the vibe, which is really, really cool. So I can't wait to see those pumpkins lit up, the fog rolling around, these weird little... And this was, man, on those first spec maps when we were like, oh, werecats or whatever the fuck, I was like, no, like, I don't even know. I don't know where they're going with it. I have no idea. This, love it. Great. Looks awesome. Can't wait. And the last little zone, and I say little facetiously because these stages are really big. Hollywood. We have, I believe, 4 stages up. Again, sort of some stained glassy stuff in the background. There's imagery, and they're all kind of different. There's like a jaguar, a cat, a crow, whatever. They're all very classical looking, very, very elegant looking stages. They added little foot pedal triggers to each stage over last night, I believe it is. So there's little speaker boxes in the front of the stage builds. So each one's going to trigger something. I don't know if that's a dance or just a simple audio cue. Could be one or the other. But this one's got me very excited too. It looks like they have on each stage, I don't know if they're like gauntlets or lanterns or something like that. I don't think they'll have fire on them. But it looks either like a lampshade or something that you would put, like a goblet, like you would put fire in there. So maybe that's a lighting thing. Like I said, I don't think there's going to be fire that close to people, but very cool. I'm very excited for this zone as well. It's like I wake up every day and I'm like, well, what's new? Because they're unloading something every single day. So those are the construction updates around the park as of Thursday. Now, of course, when you're hearing this on Friday, I'm sure there's plenty more to talk about. But that's really it. Like I said, HHN is this month. Wild.
It's gonna be here before you know it. I mean, it's crazy how fast it goes, but
it's gonna go fast for us because we have our 1 week till HHN Podathon just around the corner.
Oh, don't remind me.
We got a lot of really cool stuff we're working on behind the scenes. When we're planning all these episodes, it is absolute chaos. I'm doing my best and doing our best to try to plan these out a little bit more, so we're not like, oh, let's record 6 episodes today. Come on over, Seamus. Sunday episode day. We're gonna sit on the couch for 8 hours and talk about random stuff. Because that gets a little tiring, and then you can, unfortunately, you all feel it on the back end. But no, we got some really cool ideas. We're trying to collab with some different people to try to get fun episodes out there for the community that some we've done in the past, but people keep asking for them. So we're not going to say no to playing the hits. But yeah, so that's a fun week coming up at the tail end. If you are a very new listener or a very new follower and you weren't with us last year or the year before, what the 1 week till HHN Podathon is, it's exactly what it sounds. We do a brand new podcast episode every single day for you from Friday to Friday up until opening day. So we will start that on, I believe, August 22nd, and we will have a brand new episode Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, ending with our hype list episode on Friday to kick off the event. So with that being said, we should have an episode next week. We may do a live instead of an episode for the week before the 1 week, just so that way we can kind of free us up a little bit of rundowns. We could hop on a live and just chit chat about whatever anybody wants, and we don't have to kind of write anything down or whatever. We can just kind of free flow. So that might be what we do for our episode before the 1 week. But we're behind the scenes, hard at work, getting all this stuff done for you. But it is finally hitting me that shit, it's August. Like, it feels like it was just Spec Map one day, right? I feel like we were just talking about this stuff. And we get one less day to wait because we're doing Premium Scream Night.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that. But I think that's really it. Is there anything else that you have going on for the event that we're getting pumped for?
No, I'm just ready for it to be here. I'm ready for Premium Scream. I'm ready to check out, finally get to see this event live and in action. Because I think it's going to be a great one. I think it's going to push for one of the best in recent memory. So.
Yep. We do have a special something coming up in the middle of August. We can talk about that at a later date, but me and Seamus are heading over somewhere to collaborate on something, which is going to be very fun, I think. It's right up our alley, that's for sure. But yeah, so we'll be doing that in the middle of August. We'll release more details when we get them because it is a process. But yeah, man, I think that's about it. I think that wraps it up for us here this week. Like I mentioned at the front, our shirts are on sale at 12 in the afternoon on Friday. So get them fast because I believe they go on limited sale. It might be for like 72 hours or something. So scoop them while you can, while they're on the sale price. Obviously, with TeePublic, they kind of do various sales throughout the month. I think on the 1st, they send me the sale dates for that month, so I will know when they go on sale in the future. But yeah, TeePublic it's fun. It's not as much money for us on the back end. I think we get like $2 a shirt, maybe less. But it also allows us to have multiple designs. If I was screen printing these shirts, we're talking $800 for one shirt. And then on top of that, I have to put more boxes of shirts in my closet, and I have to mail them out and deal with all that nonsense. I don't have the time for that. So convenience for TeePublic is nice. And then if there's something wrong, you can tell them, not me. No, you can tell me too, but like I have nothing to do with it. I can't help you, unfortunately. They have their own customer service stuff. So, it handles a lot. So for the minimal amount that we get, it's worth it. And obviously people like multiple designs. We've gotten great feedback so far on the ones that we have dropped. I think the one that I was rocking is my favorite, obviously because I'm a wrestling nerd. I love my Fear is Beer, Raw is War style shirt. But yeah, so those are all out on sale. But yeah, I am so ready. But until next time, this is Nick.
This is Seamus.
Happy HHNs this month. Happy haunts.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Fear and Beer, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on whatever streaming platform you are listening to us on. You can find us on all of our socials at Fear and Beer Pod.